Hey there everybody, welcome back. I'm the Gerbil, and in today's video I want to revisit Leviathan mirror matches. So I put out a video about a month ago and I think I did a pretty good job, and I got a lot of positive feedback, and I got some very constructive, cool feedback that I've really looked over, reviewed, and practiced, and I think I've got some updated solutions that can really help you take your 7-star Leviathan versus 7-star Leviathan win rate as close to 100% win as possible. There are not a lot of good Leviathan mirror match guides out there, so I really tried to make this one as good as I can. And again, I really think that with some of the advice I'm going to give here, you can probably get close to 100% win rate. Now with that said, there is a bit of RNG and it is going to require some further investment. If you think your Relic 9 Darth, Revan, and Malgus, or I don't remember which one, is all you needed, you're probably mistaken. Let's get to it, shall we? So first thing I want to talk about is speed and RNG, or RNG and speed. This is hugely important. In fact, the turn order is probably the most significant indicator of potential success in a mirror match among 7-star fleets of Leviathans. Essentially, the Leviathan capital ship that goes first sets the stage, but it's okay if you don't go first. Even going second, you should be able to sustain a probably 95+% win rate. I think I've only lost once in the last 2 weeks, and I have been maxing out all 5 battles a day in Arena. So you should be able to firmly win this. However, it is not only a question of which Leviathan goes first, it is a question more so of which allied or enemy Sith fighter goes first. And does the enemy even have a Sith fighter? I highly recommend you make sure you start with a Sith fighter, and we'll look at why in a second. If the allied Sith fighter, meaning your allied ship, your Sith fighter goes first, you can pretty much ensure a 100% win rate. RNG, of course, can wreck that, but you should win, especially if your allied Leviathan, if your Leviathan and your Sith fighter goes first, the win should almost be a given. However, if the enemy Leviathan and an enemy Sith fighter goes before yours does, your win rate is going to drop down significantly. It is really hard to recover from that. So let's start off by thinking about how we can get the speed advantage. And what happens in the event of a tie, if the ships are tied in speed? Well, first thing you have to do is upgrade all of your mods. You need to make sure you go from the 5-dot mods to 6-dot mods on all 6 of the mods. It does not matter if they are blue, green, white, or purple, or gold. They just have to be 6-dot mods. Beyond that, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if they have speed on them, speed secondaries, speed primaries, or mod types, just 6-dot mod. The benefit from having all 6-dot mods is that you will gain 2 speed. If your opponent does not have that, your Sith fighter will be faster than theirs by that virtue. However, you also get speed from relic levels. The higher the relic level, the faster your Sith fighter is going to be. So at a maxed out relic 9, your Sith fighter should be able to reach 183 speed. Unfortunately, Sith Assassin is not really a character worth taking to relic 9, but think of it this way. If it takes you a month to farm the requirements you need to get her to relic 9, but then it saves you 2 to 5 minutes a day for the next 330 days, then you are talking about anywhere from 10 to, 40, 50 hours of your life over the next year that you're not grinding away and hoping, repeating lost battles. So if you think of it that way, time saved over the course of a year of mirror matches, it is a significantly worthwhile investment to relic up your Sith Assassin. However, of course, if their Sith Assassin is relic 9 and max and yours is relic 9 and max, then there is an RNG situation where a dice is rolled, a computer invisible dice that determines who gets to go first. It is supposed to be purely random. In my experiences, I never go first. But hey, that's just me being me. So, starting lineups. I highly recommend that you start off with the Sith fighter, and no matter what, you must start off with the Fury and the B-28 bomber. Now, there is a rationale for taking out the Sith fighter and using the TIE dagger, which we'll understand when we look at the kit. However, if you are going in with the Sith fighter and your opponent has a TIE dagger, you should have a 100% win rate. Let me repeat that. If your lineup includes the Sith fighter and the opposing lineup includes the TIE dagger, you should have a 100% win rate. We will look at some video in just a second. Reinforcements. I would include whichever ship you're not using in your starting lineup, the dagger or the Sith fighter. And lately, I've really been experimenting with Cassian's U-Wing. Many people do not run Home 1 fleets anymore, so you have a lot of Rebel ships sitting on the bench, and Cassian's U-Wing actually brings a lot to the table and helps you in some precarious situations. Second, you must bring in the Mark 6 Interceptor. It has to be your second reinforcement. Beyond that, your third, fourth reinforcement you likely will not use. I do not believe I have called a third reinforcement in at least a month. So it doesn't really matter, but I do keep for Fleet Arena, I keep the Emperor Shuttle there because there are some times where RNG is not working out and it's probably a good first reinforcement. So it does depend on a bit of RNG and how the battle goes. So there are some kit key features we need to understand. The Leviathan's kit is long, and I am not going to go into it in detail. Let's assume that everybody who has a Leviathan at 7 stars has a basic understanding of the kit. There are nonetheless a few things you need to be aware of. Sabotage the engines should always be your first move. The sabotage the engine is going to reduce the enemy capital ship speed by 30%, as well as removing 30% turn meter. Now that will balance out when the enemy capital ship responds doing the same thing, or vice versa. Whoever goes first is going to cripple the enemy ship first, obviously. Now that's not necessarily the end of the game. You should be able to recover from this. Sabotage the hangars. You need to target your B-28 bomber normally, but it's conditional, of course. It will recover 40% health on whatever ally you just select. So go for the healing of whatever ally is most damaged. Also, you cannot use this ability until allied Sith ships have inflicted at least 15 debuffs. So you must land debuffs, which means your B-28 needs to do the little AoE strafe to drop the concussion mines or whatever they are on the enemies. You want to use the Furies swarm attack so that you can land like 5 or 6 debuffs in one shot right there. So the faster you can debuff, the faster you can sabotage the hangars. And while not underlined, you want this because it will automatically defeat the next ship called in to reinforce. Of course, the ultimate move, Seize the Bridge, is going to take control of the enemy ship, but there is a really important note here. The first time Sith allies have inflicted 50 debuffs, it will reduce the cooldown by 1. That means you want to do this before your enemy can. So there are a few ways that we can deal with this, but you definitely want to try to inflict as many debuffs as you can as quickly as possible. All right, so starting lineup. The Fury. Fury has to be there. It has an ability, special ability called Path to Power. This particular ability should likely be, especially if you have the turn advantage, this will be your opening move from your fighters. It will call all Sith allies to attack. So you have 3 on the board. It should be the Sith fighter, the Fury, and the B-28. Now, Sith allies and Sith Empire allies, it will count them as attacking twice. So if you have 7+ allies attacking, again, it's kind of weird, but it will count Sith and Sith Empire as allies attacking twice. You should inflict shield disruption, suspense, burning, and healing immunity. So there's 4 debuffs immediately on the enemy B-28. If the shield disruption lands Mwah, that is just wonderful news, and your odds of winning will go up dramatically, especially if you get the shield disruption plus the healing immunity. Next up, your B-28 is going to do the little strafing run, landing concussion mines on everybody. But more importantly, you need to know that its defensive ability, whenever a Sith ally takes damage or evades an attack from an enemy, there's an 80% chance that it too will automatically place a concussion mine on the enemy ship. When those concussion mines go boom and explode, it dazes them. So this is how you're going to prevent enemies from attacking out of turn and gaining bonus turn meter, etc. So you want to land that before the enemy Sith fighter takes a turn. Make sense? Because if they get concussion mines on you before yours takes a turn, you're not going to gain turn meter from him, which is the next thing we need to know. Sith fighter attacks all ignore protection. Now, this is something you need to be very aware of throughout the battle, because there should be instances where the enemy B-28 may have full protection, may have healing immunity or something similar, and may be in the red zone of health. This guy or girl, excuse me, Sith fighter's a girl, she ignores the protection such that she can get a kill shot through an enemy who has recovered their protection. But more importantly, whenever an enemy falls below 100% health, all Sith allies gain 25% turn meter. So her basic and her special will ignore protection, reducing the enemy's health pool below 25%, giving your entire team 25% turn meter. This is why you need to have her at the highest relic speed as you can, with all 6-stop mods to outrun your enemy. And this is why if the enemy has the TIE dagger and you have Sith fighter, you are almost certain to win, because your TIE Sith fighter will go before them, which will then push up your B-28 and your Fury and give your, I believe even the Leviathan itself, turn meter advantage and go before everybody else. Also dazing, shield disruption, applying healing immunity, and reducing the cooldowns of your Sabotage the Hangar and your Seize the Bridge special abilities. Next up, we do have some thoughts on the TIE Dagger. I do not really think it is a significantly important ship. It is an acceptable first reinforcement. The reason why many people start the battle with it is because every time a Sith ally is inflicted with a debuff, or there's another one, I think there's whenever they attack out of turn or inflict a debuff, they get the TIE Dagger gains a stack of Vengeance. Vengeance, whenever the dagger gets 15 of those, it dispels all debuffs on your Sith team. So it's basically like a mass passive heal, or not heal, but cleansing ability, and that's great. But you're sacrificing turn meter advantage and speed by running with this ship. So again, if this is on the enemy lineup, you can win pretty easily. There are certainly additional reasons to run this ship. Maybe it's better against like Profundity or Executor. I don't know. I've not had that experience yet, but I just don't recommend starting with this. Next up, we've got our wonderful Mark 6 Interceptor. If it is your second reinforcement and everything you do everything as I'm going to explain in a second, it will enter the battle with 50 stacks of Devouring Swarm. And then you can immediately ignore taunt, use the basic, which at 40 stacks or more, it will instantly defeat the enemy ship. That must target the enemy Fury. You want to take out the enemy Fury immediately, first opportunity, so execute it, blow it up, get rid of it, make it super dead. All right, we're almost done here with some key features. Cassian U-Wing. Oh, this one is very interesting. A rebel? Yes. Cassian's U-Wing, when he enters the battlefield, he dispels all buffs from all enemy ships. Then he applies defense down and offense down. Now, the offense down doesn't really matter, but the defense down is very important. It significantly increases the damage you can deal to the enemy B-28, which is a tank, so that you can destroy it quicker. The dispel, though, the mass dispel is really, really nice because, as you know, probably, the Leviathan spreads around a lot of buffs on your team, as do several other kits. So the enemy team likely has a lot of buffs that are providing a lot of unique abilities. So Cassian comes in and gets rid of them. Secondly, the enemy Leviathan fleet has probably debuffed the living crap out of all of your fleet ships, especially your B-28, which probably has shield disruption, healing immunity, etc., on it days, health down, take your pick. Cassian can cleanse all of that with the infiltration tactics. So he enters the board, wipes out all the enemy buffs, then cleanses your B-28, setting him back up to recover all of his health and protection through Fury. Alternatively, he can dispel all buffs on an enemy target, then inflict target lock and tenacity down to help ensure that you land even more debuffs. Now, if there is an opportunity for a kill shot, he calls a targeted assist with Gorilla Strike, doing additional critical damage. It's kind of nice, but the likelihood is that your team is dazed, and so that's not going to happen too well. But the debuffs, the tenacity down, the cleansing, and the targeted ally cleanse is just really, really effective. Next up, the final ship that I keep in my lineup but don't really use that much anymore is the Emperor Shuttle, because when he enters the battlefield, all Sith allies gain offense up, which is nice, but not super important, but does grant the shuttle the ability to use Emperor's Influence immediately. And the Emperor's Influence is really, really nice in this match because it recovers 50% of your health and protection, and dispels all buffs from the target enemy, and inflicts buff immunity on them and target lock all enemies. Buff immunity on all target locked enemies. My bad, I read that wrong, didn't I? Yeah. So the thing is that this is cleansing your B-28. Is it cleansing? Let me read that again. Dispel all debuffs from target, empire, or ally. Yes. So it is cleansing your B-28 likely and healing it up so it doesn't die from, once again, being health down, shield disrupted, etc. So it keeps you alive, and then there are some other passive abilities, and his, I think, second special does a significant amount of damage also. So it's a good ship to have. Now, turn order. Woo, this is getting long, isn't it, boys and girls? Leviathan needs to do the following. Turn 1, sabotage the enemy, targeting your own B-28 to apply breach immunity to it, just in case you're fighting something that can breach you. Second turn of the Leviathan, it will reinforce. Pick a unit as needed. It's very situational depending on board state. Third, sabotage the enemy hangars so that they can't call anything in. Target your weakest ally to heal them. 4, reinforce with the Mark 6 and blow up the enemy Fury. As far as your ally ships, B-28 needs to do the bombing run, applying as many debuffs as possible. Sith Fighter needs to just attack. That's it. Land a hit. If it scores, it will bypass the protection, giving your whole team turn meter. Fury needs to path to power, calling everybody to attack, hopefully shield disrupting and healing immunity on the enemy B-28. Then your first RI depends on whatever you need. Your second RI is your Mark 6, and bye-bye enemy Fury. All right, now with all that said, let's look at some gameplay and see how this actually plays out. Once again, I'm hiding myself there. So we're gonna start off with a matchup against an enemy fleet with a Relic 7 Sith fighter. In this battle, the enemy fleet is going to go second. I am going to go second, but the enemy Sith fighter is going to also go second. Wow, I'm saying confusing stuff, aren't I? Let's just watch and you'll understand what I mean, because I think I messed that up. All right, so we go second. So they break my engines first, but then I got the turn meter advantage through the Sith fighter. So I'm gonna win, probably. I mean, I 99% should win this. So we do some health damage. All of my ships now go first. We get the concussion bombs on everybody. We got the health and healing immunity. We got the shield protection disruption on the B-28, which also, all that stuff gave us foresight, which meant that their Sith fighter missed. And because they missed, they don't get that turn meter gain that we do. Now we're going to call in our first reinforcement, and I'm just going to go for the U-Wing. Bye-bye buffs on the enemies, and we do a targeted assist, but all of my team were dazed. I didn't pay attention. That's okay though. With a 30% bonus crit damage, we killed the enemy B-28. Now we're going to gun down the Sith fighter. I'm actually going to cleanse my B-28 right there. Look at that. B-28, the Sith fighter on the enemy fleet is gone. They call in their Mark 6 as the first reinforcement because the AI is never smart. And we're just going to do a couple little pew-pews. We're going to apply some debuffs over there, tenacity down, target lock. I love the U-Wing in this lineup. Now we're going to bring in the Mark 6. We're going to switch to Fury, and it is game over. We win. Pretty straightforward. Okay, let's move on to the next battle. Oh, looky, you can see me again. This time we are also going to go second. So the enemy is going to once again break our engines. My Sith fighter is again going to go first. Turn meter advantage. Now my whole team will go before theirs. So we throw out some concussion mines, we mass assist, we land the healing immunity, the protection disruption. We are looking at B-28, just verifying, there it is. We even got ability block on it. So now we're gonna break their engines. The enemies can do a little strafing run and miss because we had foresight, which means they again did not gain turn meter from their Sith fighter. And then we're just going to do a little basic followed by a basic, and then our Fury is going to heal up because why not? So it's the first special. Now we are once again going to call our reinforcement, and in this one I'm going to call in the dagger, just showing the difference here. So the dagger comes in, pew, bomber dies anyway, no problem. We're not going to be able to cleanse ourselves as a I was about to say as efficiently, but actually no, the dagger, that's exactly what it does. By getting those 15 stacks of vengeance, we just cleared off all the debuffs on my whole squad. And they called in the Mark 6 again because the AI is dumb. And then we are going to wipe out the enemy team pretty quickly. So the TIE Dagger is nice. It's probably a better ship maybe as a first reinforcement than the U-Wing, but what I love about the U-Wing is it gets rid of all those buffs, including the tenacity up. Did you see how both the Fury and the Interceptor have tenacity up? With that tenacity up, we are not reducing the cooldowns of our Sabotage the Hangars. We are not getting to 50 debuffs to reduce the cooldown of our Seize the Bridge. That's why the U-Wing is actually good, and so I'm going to retract what I just said, and say that actually I think I like the U-Wing better. Wait 30 seconds, I'll change my mind again. Alright, anyway folks, the point is it's kind of conditional, and many people don't have a U-Wing like at, high levels ready to go. Let's look at some more gameplay. Going first, this time we're going to go first, and we're going to go up against the TIE Dagger. Alright, so I'm still going to use the U-Wing. You can see my relic levels there because I have profundity. My Cassian is at relic 8, as would yours if you have profundity, but my Gen and K2 are also at relic 7 because I really love Rogue One. Alright, so here we go. Because they have TIE Dagger, we are definitely going to have our ships go before them, with the Sith Fighter going next. Here it is. We got the luck of the draw, though, on the capital v capital. But once again, we got the turn meter advantage. We got the healing, ability block, protection disruption. So the enemy B-28 is in definite trouble right now. They got their Sabotage the engines. All right, we're going to get some nice pew-pews. Now, their dagger has healed, or not healed, but cleansed off their B-28. That's why a lot of people put it there. But we bring in Cassian, apply the defense down. We're going to cleanse my Sith fighter to get rid of all those debuffs. And then we're going to get a nice big hit with the fighter who ignores protection. So at this point, it kind of looks like it could go either way, right? Because my B-28 is now in a world of trouble, and theirs is not. But keep in mind, the B-28 revives once, and we've already, basically we've destroyed theirs once, or brought it down to 1 health, or whatever it is that it revives the health. But that's okay, because we had the turn advantage through the Sith fighter, the turn meter advantage, which enables us to get to the second reinforcement first. And once that reinforcement comes out, we drop the enemy Fury, and at this point it doesn't matter if we lose our B-28, it can die. We're gonna win through board control and Fury dominance. Like the team with the Fury usually will win. If you can get rid of the enemy Fury before they get rid of yours, I would say you like talking 95, 98% win rate. So there it is. We have just seized the bridge. All right. Once again, that was, I think, also in part because the U-Wing cleansed off the enemies. They didn't have the tenacity up. We landed more debuffs. All right. We got 2 more battles here. Once again, we're going to go first versus this time a Sith. Nope, it's another dagger. Oh, headline's wrong on that. Pardon me, folks. Okay, so we got to go first again. Sabotage the hangars. Pew pew basic on the B-28. Turn meter advantage. Strafing run. Mass assist. Debuff the living crap out of them all. Their dagger missed because we had foresight. They break our engines. No problem. We're gonna basic. We're gonna basic again. And then we're going to call in our dagger in this case. So we got another example dagger coming in. We're going to have 8 stacks of vengeance. Now we're up to 10. Any second, we're going to hit 15 and cleanse our allied fleet. Okay. Triggered their healing or revive, savior, whatever you want to call it. So there we go. We just cleansed off our fleet. And mass dodge again. I think that's so funny when the whole team has foresight and the enemy's dodge, right? Any opportunity that you can attack an enemy ship by, when the B-28 doesn't have taunt and you can get past it to hit like the dagger or the Sith fighter, whatever the enemy has, you should also capitalize on that. Take it when you can. All right, here we go. That was a misplay. And we're going to basic bye-bye Fury. Now that Fury's gone again, it's a slam dunk at this point. So heal up a little bit. Oh, he dodged. Look at that. Sith fighter comes out. Bad call, AI. And we're going to blow him up. I promise. We win this. There it is. Seize the bridge. All right, final video. This one is epically bad RNG on our side. And here's how. Okay, first off, we're not going to get the initiative. So the enemy capital ship goes first. But we got speed advantage, and we miss. That can happen. The Sith fighter missed. The enemy B-28 dodged, which meant my ships did not have turn meter advantage, right? I didn't get that bonus 25% turn meter, which meant that they got to do the AoE first. They got the foresight up on their squad first. So right here, we're gonna, oh, actually we land a hit. I thought we were gonna miss again. But just like everything that can go wrong is going wrong for us in this battle. They've got the sabotage everything out. I think they got the hangars. Yeah, they got sabotage the hangars before we even got our first reinforcement out. So that was just nasty. So the point is, folks, sometimes no matter what, the RNG is going to bite you in the butt. It just totally happens. Like he didn't have foresight. We just got dodged. And as soon as that dodge happens, it basically means we've lost turn meter advantage for the fleet. We lost the initiative roll for the capital ships. So the entire match we're playing catch up. And when you're playing catch up in this match in this mirror, it's very, very, very hard to catch up. You almost cannot catch up. You have to get out ahead of them. Anyway, folks, I hope this helped to some degree. I really, really do. I will post some of the graphics from this video in my Discord. There's a link to it in the description down below. You're welcome to go check it out. I've got a little channel in there just called Infographs. So I'll take some of these slides and I'll share them so that you can just kind of review them, or of course, screenshot this, whatever you want. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will catch you all later. Give me a like and subscribe, and I would appreciate it. All right, bye-bye. Pew, pew, pew. Pew.